Okay, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Malone Speakers. This is episode 38, and we are welcoming back Kay, who you may remember from the PJ Harvey Rid of Me episode and the Sonic Youth Evil episode. Welcome back, Kay.
Thanks for having me again.
And how are you? How have you been?
I'm cool. I'm just finished my, the midterm presentation and almost finished my semester. So
Hmm.
I'm doing great.
Me too. Yeah, so it's almost summer break, right?
Yeah, almost summer break.
Hmm. So, so let's see. When we discussed before which albums to discuss someday, one of the ones you mentioned was Pixies Doolittle, right? So
Yeah, I
today we're
mentioned.
going to talk about Doolittle. Just a moment. So why did you want to talk about Doolittle?
Because it's this album is kind of one of my favorite album in my entire life. So and every time when I record PG Harvey or Sonic Youth, I always think of this band Pixies because I love PG Harvey, Sonic Youth, Pixies at the same time. So it's just like and I think this album was kind of really genius and unique to me because when I first listened to this album, I was like, I never heard such a thing before. So it was quite, I was shocked and it was quite um, new and weird to me. And it was really impressed me. So and then I listened to this album again and again, and every time I listened to this album, I got the totally different experience. So that's the reason why I wanted to talk about it.
Ah, so how old were you when you first discovered this album?
Um, uh, I remember that I get to know Pixies from the movie called Fight Club,
Fight
and
Club. Yeah.
where is my mind? And it attracted me suddenly, and then I just browsed this band from the website. And firstly, I only listened to the album that contains "Where Is My Mind" and listened to "Where Is My Mind" a thousand times, and then I just you know look through the whole timeline of their album, and then I tried Doolittle, and Doolittle is oh it's always been the favorite one since my high school. So
Hmm.
that's
Fair enough. Yeah, I remember that at the end of Fight Club.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
let's see. So, well, just to give people an idea of the Pixies, the history of the Pixies albums from around this time, right? From '98 to '91, they put out four albums, and I think many Pixies fans consider all four of these albums classic, right? So the classic lineup,
Yeah.
which we'll talk about. Um, so in my case, I think it was kind of early '91 that I first started listening to the Pixies. Um, so it was kind of exciting to. So even though it was their fourth album at this time, so when I started listening to them, they already had these four albums out, even though
Uh,
they were still fairly new. So it was kind of exciting to discover this great band
mm,
and to discover that they had 4 albums out already, right? So,
yeah. So you've seen the history of how Pixies developed, during a long period of time.
mm,
That's cool.
exactly, right? And
Yeah.
so the first, usually when you watch like or listen to like a history of the Pixies, they talk about how they weren't big in America at first. Like these Surfer Rosa and Doolittle were kind of more popular in England and Europe than they were in America, right?
I
So
see.
yeah,
Mm.
so that kind of so maybe that's why I don't think I listened to them until 91. But hmm, but I remember it's just they were a very exciting band to discover, I think. And like what you said about like every time you listen to Doolittle, it sounds different, right? So I think,
Yeah,
yeah, the Pixies are very versatile. They have a lot of different sounds and attitudes, I think. So
yeah, that's true.
it's exciting. Um, but still, I mean, of these 4 albums, most people consider, especially Doolittle, their classic album, right? So I'm not surprised that this website, All Music, right, recommends Doolittle as a starting point to listen to the Pixies. Um,
Yeah, I think yeah, it's like the most classic one of the Pixies. And I don't know, but in China, some people that I know who like Pixies, they all know or get to know this band from Kurt Cobain, because Kurt Cobain said that he was kind of the fan of Pixies, and so he talked a lot about Pixies. So as I mentioned before, in China, many people like listen a lot of music from Nirvana.
mm,
And they get to know Pixies from the Kurt Cobain, and maybe or other people just like me, know this band from the movies. But still, and I remember that Kurt Cobain talked about he used some similar, the melody down, and I don't know how to describe it
yeah,
from
loud, quiet.
yeah, loud and quiet from the Doolittle. So I think that's part of the reason why it because this album is also ranking really high in Chinese music media.
Oh, really?
So I think yeah, that's part of the reason why it's the most classic one
Mm.
in China. Yeah.
Yeah, they were a big influence on Nirvana, right? A big influence on the grunge scene and beyond, right?
Yeah.
So it's yeah, just one of those bands that was just hugely influential, I
Mhm.
would say. Um, dee, dee, dee. So so Surfer Rosa, right, 88. So before when we talked about PJ Harvey, Rid of Me, it was produced by Steve Albini, right? So Steve Albini produced Surfer Rosa, right?
Oh, I don't know that.
Mm,
So I just noticed that the first album is from 4AD,
mm,
4AD Company,
mm,
and then it's the Electra.
mm.
I don't know why. Is Electra a new, the label company or something? I don't know that. I
Uh,
thought they belong to 4AD all the time.
okay. But Elektra's bigger. It's like a bigger label. So I think after they started to become famous in Europe, Elektra somehow took over their distribution in America
Oh,
or something. But this website gets confusing because yeah, they always put like the most recent record company that released it. So yeah, so sometimes it's a little confusing. So some of these may have been originally released on 4AD,
I
I
see.
think.
'Cause I love 4AD. I listened a lot of 4AD bands,
Hmm.
and I used to have a 480 playlist. It's it contains all my favorite 480 bands like In Camera, Pixies, but still Pixies is the most classic and my favorite one.
Hmm. I remember when we talked before, so both of us said we were very surprised when we saw what the Pixies looked like, right?
Yeah,
When you
yeah, I
saw a
remember.
picture of the Pixies, because I heard, yeah, I first heard them in '91, and then at that time I was able to hear all these albums. At least, one of my friends had all of these albums, so all of us were kind of listening to all these albums together. But I don't think they had a picture of the band in these albums. So I had no idea what they looked like. So I was very surprised when I finally when I finally saw how normal they were, right? Because
Yeah,
especially when you think of like Debaser or Tame, some of those rather extreme vocal performances, and considering that his stage name was Black Francis, I envisioned like a very scary person, right?
yeah, I think I I was saying that I thought the vocal of the Pixies was kind of, the cool people and really skinny and, look like, you know, someone who has some psycho problems,
Mm,
mental problems or something.
yeah.
But yeah, he was just so normal, so
Yes.
normal. Yeah.
And all of them really look very normal. They just look
Yeah.
like normal kids, I think,
Yeah,
right?
but still, I think Kim Deal was really cool.
Mm,
She's really cool actually. Her outfit and yeah.
mm. Of course. I think, yeah, Kim Deal became kind of a hero for many people.
Mhm. Yes.
um, and here's another picture of the band, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, like they don't really look like a band, and
Yeah.
they don't look especially fashionable, except for, yeah, Kim, as you said, sometimes does, but the guys, I don't think.
Yeah. This picture is just like from some, company gathering or something.
Yeah. The company picnic. Yeah. Exactly. This is like the company beach outing. Um, yeah. Like Lovering just looks like a little boy going to a baseball game here, right? Um, so yeah, very kind of atypical rock stars, not what you would expect them to look like, right?
Yeah. I cannot imagine this four people was doing, so how to say maniacal music. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot imagine that
Yeah,
if I only look this picture.
yeah, exactly. Like even if someone told you they were a band, you would look at this picture and think they're probably a terrible band.
Yeah, sure. Like maybe the country music band or
Yeah,
some,
yeah.
yeah,
Or like a cover band or something like
yeah, yeah, country band, yeah.
hmm. But but no, they were the legendary landmark band, right? Black Francis, vocals and guitar, right? So this is Black Francis.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually, it's the first time that I saw his picture with hair, with his hair, because
oh,
I always saw his picture when he's bald, you know.
okay. Hmm. So you
Yeah.
know old Black Francis or Frank Black, right? But his real name is Charles Michael Kittredge Thompson the Fourth. So you could,
That's wrong.
I think you could understand why he wanted a stage name, right? That name is
Oh,
too long.
that's
But when his bandmates talk about him, usually they call him Charles.
Charles.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he looks like Charles, you know, the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even here, he looks even more normal, right? Charles.
Yeah, Charles.
And then we have Kim Deal, right?
Yeah.
The bassist. Okay. And yeah, the band was formed in Boston, but Kim Deal is from Dayton, Ohio, right?
Again, Dayton,
Yeah.
Ohio. 'Cause we,
Yes. So after the Pixies broke up, she returned to Dayton to start the Breeders with her sister, right, Kelly Deal. And at that time, Dayton was like a hot scene because of the Breeders and Brainiac and Guided by Voices.
wow.
Let's see, and we got Joey Santiago is the lead guitarist, and David Lovering drums, right? And he sings lead vocals on one song on this album, right?
I don't know that. Which song?
The La La Love You.
Oh, I love you. I see.
And yeah, Kim Deal occasionally sings lead vocals and very often backing vocals, right, on some of their trademark songs. Okay. One just I always thought was kind of an interesting coincidence, since the Pixies are a major band from Boston, right? But their bassist is from Ohio. But I always thought it was an interesting coincidence that there's another very famous band from Boston whose bassist is also from Ohio that started 10 years before the Pixies. I wonder if you know this band. Oh no. Right, just a moment. Sometimes I can't find the arrow. Right, give me a second. Oh no, technical problems. Oh no.
Okay.
Let me see.
Maybe you can try
the
some.
I got it. Here we go. Okay. Yeah. So another famous Boston band that had a bassist from Ohio is the Cars. Do you know the Cars?
I don't know. Sorry.
So they were before the Pixies. So they started in '76, right? But they became a very big band. They're much poppier than the Pixies. But
what's what kind of category of
kind
their
of
music?
new wave poppy kind of. And they're considered like a famous Boston band, but their bass player, this guy Benjamin Orr, was also from Ohio. So I just think it's a interesting coincidence that two really famous bands from Boston, actually the bassists from both bands is from Ohio, right? And like Kim Deal, this guy. So this is the lead singer, Rick Ocasek. But like Kim Deal, Benjamin Orr would also sometimes be the lead vocalist. So
Oh,
I thought just kind of a funny coincidence. But
yeah,
yeah, they were a big. This band was a big part of my childhood. The Cars.
the Cars. I see.
But to get back to the Pixies,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is the song I mentioned that Dave
Oh,
Lovering, the drummer, sings vocals on this, right? La La Love You.
I love you.
Um, oh, so shall we play? Shall we play a little excerpt from the album now?
Yeah, we could do that.
What do you think? Do you want to choose?
Um, maybe just from the Debaser, the first one.
All right.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So you mentioned Debaser, right? The opening track of the album. Yeah, I agree. I think this. I mean, it's an amazing album, but I mean, especially this opening track. I mean, just I think is mind blowing. So
Yeah,
definitely
mind-blowing.
a
Yeah,
good place to start. What What do you think?
yeah, I think so. I think the first time when I listened this album, I start with Debaser.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I still, remember the feeling, and let's just play it and feel it again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. I think it was the first Pixie song I heard. I think.
Oh,
Well,
oh,
because like I said, I kind of heard all those albums at the same time. So I think it was a high school friend of mine, my friend Jason, who first played them to me, and I think he had a couple albums, and then a couple other friends had different albums, and I kind of heard, a little from each album in a roundabout way. But I'm pretty sure the first one I heard was Doolittle and Debaser.
how do you feel at that time?
Oh, I mean, I just think it's a mind blowing song. I mean, the music and the vocals, and when you get around to thinking about the imagery, it's yeah, it's killer. Yeah, very explosive song, I think.
Yeah, yeah, me
Mysterious
too.
lyrics. Yeah.
Yeah, mysterious and yeah, just so unique.
Hmm.
This sound. Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Got me a movie, I want you to know. Slicing up my eyeballs, I want you to know. Girl, it's so groovy, I want you to know. Don't know about you, but I am moonshine Andalusia. I am moonshine Andalusia. I am moonshine Andalusia. I am moonshine Andalusia. Wanna grow up to be a debaser. Debasers. 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 Got me a movie, slicing up eyeballs, girl, it's so groovy, don't know about you, but I am moonshine Andalusia, I am moonshine Andalusia, I am moonshine Andalusia, I am moonshine Andalusia.
Okay, just to give people an idea, right? I mean, just the contrast between his voice, he sounds so crazy and so like unhinged. And then Kim Deal's voice just sounds so sweet, right? And
Yeah. And the combination of their voices is kind of, I can say that the melody of their vocal is kind of cute, but the guitar is like more really noisy, and so that's an amazing combination, I think. Yeah.
I agree. uh, let's see. So if we look, so if you look at right, the songwriting credits, so all of the songs are written by Black Francis, right, the vocalist, except for Kim Deal gets one writing credit on one of the songs.
Mm.
But this would be like a cause for later tension in the band, right? That it's really Black Francis's band. He's writing all the songs, but Kim Deal wants to have more say in the songwriting.
Yeah.
Becomes tension later on, right? But
Yeah.
so the lyrics for Debaser, like when you first heard Debaser, did you try to understand the lyrics, or did you?
No, my English was so poor at that time. I can only understand some words of the lyrics, but but still, I think the song is actually most of the English song. I first listened to it. I only focus on the melody or the rhythm or
Sure.
and then I will pay more attention to the lyrics. So, but I still I think that that was interesting because the melody and rhythm and everything except from the lyrics is also important. That's that's the first impression of this band. I mean, just like this song, it's the first bass, first bass sound was just attract me, so so uh but the answer is no. When the first time I listened to the debaser, I didn't know what's the meaning of the lyrics of this song.
But I think like what you're saying is what Black Francis often says when people ask him about the lyrics. He often says, I just choose words that sound cool. he does, but I think it's true sometimes, but also his
It's organized, right? Yeah.
So so I didn't understand like exactly about what Debaser was about, but I knew that the more I heard it, I knew that it was connected to this movie, right? From
Yeah, I think I mentioned this before when we talk about, I don't know, Sonic Youth or PG Harvey or our private conversation. I mentioned this movie. Yeah.
So this is 1929, right? A very old movie.
Yeah.
60 years before the Doolittle, but I when I was in high school, I had a very cool art teacher, Mr. Hoffman, and he taught us about surrealism, and he showed this movie in class, and
Wow.
and of course I can never forget the scene with the
Yeah, me too.
razor cutting the eyeball, right? And
Yeah.
like I don't think, when I first started listening to the Pixies, I don't think I remembered the name of this movie, and I don't think I remembered that it was Louis Buñuel and Salvador Dali. Like I didn't remember the name, but I remembered that I saw a surrealist movie in art class that involved cutting an eyeball, right?
Yeah.
Like that was such a strong memory to me that when I realized that's what he was saying in Debaser, right?
Yeah.
Got me a movie, want you to know, slicing up eyeballs, I want you to know. So I made that connection in my head that I understood that the Pixies were like connected to surrealism, or at least taking from surrealism, right?
Yeah. Um, yeah, yeah, me too. Actually, I listened to the Pixies Debaser first when I was a high school student, and then during my undergraduate time, I was really interested in movies, and yeah, I watched different kinds of movies and include this and I cannot pronounce the name of, but I,
Andalou.
yeah. Andalou, yeah. I always only remember the title in Chinese for the most movies. So, but I remember the Andalou, and I don't know, maybe 3 years or 4 years later, somehow I saw the review of the Pixies bands, and I just realized that the basers, the Black Francis screamed and Andalou all the time in the debasers. I say, oh, that's Andalou. That's the Andalou from this movie. So at that time, I connect these two together, and this happened. The same thing happened in the Smashing Pumpkins. I watched the movie. I think it was the earliest color movie in the world. I don't know. It's like someone traveled to the moon or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact. I
I
don't
think
know.
it's called Trip to the Moon. Like something
Yeah.
very
Trip to
simple
the
title like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that movie has a new version with a soundtrack, and the soundtrack is produced by the French band named Air. I don't know if you know that. The Air,
The Air.
electronic band, and the
I remember that. Yeah.
and and that movie is and the Smashing Pumpkins, using the cover of that movies. Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
The I forgot the name of
There's
that
a
album.
video, right? Don't they use that in one of their videos?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's the cover. The cover comes from that movies. The cover from
Oh, the
which
album color, the melancholy.
19 yeah, that one.
Okay. Yeah.
I might got confused, but somehow it related to that movie,
Okay. Yeah.
Trip to the Moon.
So maybe it was kind of a trend. I don't know, after the Pixies or so, like that bands were like pulling from the 20s and 30s, right? For
Yeah, yeah, from the movies. Wow, but that's interesting coincidence.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Do you have what other tracks were meaningful to you on this album?
I have to say it's Hey and Gotcha Way. There's one time I really liked Hey, I can play the bass melody of Hey because I really love this song, and but I don't know the meaning of Hey for a long time, and then I don't know, it's kind of, it's a love song, right? I don't know, but but I really love the melody, and you know, the melody and the way Francis expressed this song.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like his kind of attitude as a performer really like comes through in that
Yeah.
that song, I think. Mm. Um, well, of course, yeah, Monkey's Gone to Heaven, right? I think that was one of the first songs I was attracted to on the album. Yeah, I mean, just the lyrics were so intriguing, you know, that
Mhm. Yeah, but I think it's really complicated to understand what's the meaning of the lyrics of Monkey Gone to Heaven.
hmm,
Maybe maybe because of the cultural differences. Sometimes I just find that it's really hard to understand the lyrics of Pixies.
no,
Yeah.
I think for most native speakers, yeah, listening to the Pixies, the lyrics don't immediately make sense. It
Yeah,
always,
yeah, there's no logical connection or something.
mhm.
So so I do not focus on the lyrics.
But it's always just a collection of cool images and just interesting connections. I feel that like go into their lyrics, you know. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
and
how do you feel about this, the lyrics of Monkey Gone to Heaven? What do you
um,
think?
I, I I do like that image of just I don't know. So monkey, I think of kind of a simple-minded creature that just kind of stumbles into some blissful situation. And he's referring, I feel like he's referring to himself as the monkey. This monkey's gone to heaven. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I just always thought it was like it had the
Mhm.
feeling for me of just stumbling onto a completely happy, blissful situation and then kind of celebrating it. And
Ah,
and I think he throws numbers around in the like um he takes things from the Bible, gouge away and dead um, are related to the Bible.
Bible.
And there's a lot I can't pick up on from listening to them, but just within the last couple days, I read a bit about it and listened to some podcasts and um, got a clearer idea of some of the songs. But I think back then when I was first listening to it, I didn't have I would only at certain points in the song just certain parts of the song would kind of vaguely mean something to me and I would attach myself to that, right?
Yeah, yeah, I got the same feeling when I listen to other songs. Just some part of it was really attracting, and yeah, I thought the monkey when I first looked through the lyrics of the Monkey Gone to Heaven. I thought he talked about the, the evil, the heaven, and I thought monkey was the represent for human. So I thought it was a song about the self destruction of human or something like he used the monkeys to it's the monkey is the represent of the human, and there's evil around, so it's like struggling with evils and finally to happen or something.
Mm,
Yeah, I got this image when I recalled to this song, but I don't. Yeah, maybe everyone has their own opinion related to understanding the lyrics.
yeah, but what you're saying though is kind of also similar to Wave of Mutilation, kind of, right? I
Uh,
feel like
a wave. Oh, yeah.
wave of mutilation. I guess I see a connection there because so I mean the guy drives his car off the cliff, right? You think it's like a sad ending, right? You think I'm dead, but I sail away on a wave of mutilation. Like he actually finds happiness through that. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's kind of a similar thematic thread to Monkeys Gone to Heaven. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's a lot of like water throughout the whole album. Like there's just yeah, kind of different concepts that come and go in the album. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting and really fun and really thought provoking.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
It's like, yeah, it's like the Euro uh euphoria after suffering some bad things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Euphoria.
A
Euphoria.
euphoria. Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so yeah, so I wanted to mention this this show in 1991, right? So I think it was earlier in the year that I first became interested in the Pixies, right? So and I listened, yeah, like I feel like that year I listened to a lot of Pixies um, throughout, the spring and the summer. And this was in December at the end of the year. We
Mm-hmm.
heard that the Pixies were coming, right, to play a live concert at this university in my hometown, right?
Wow.
But
So it's in Dayton, Ohio.
okay, so at this time I was in Dayton because that's where I went to university. But this
Oh,
show was in Cleveland, Ohio. So they're both in Ohio, but
yeah.
Cleveland is in the north of Ohio and Dayton's kind of in the south. So
Oh,
by car, it's about 3.5 or 4 hours, right?
oh, I see. It's pretty far away.
Yeah, but we heard about this show, yeah, and me and all my friends, we said, okay, we're going to drive up to Cleveland for the Pixies show, right? And
Wow.
I think we had someone in Cleveland buy us the tickets, so we knew that we had tickets for the show. We were very excited for this, right? Um,
Mhm.
so the Pixies were the headlining band, and Para Ubu was the opening band. So Para Ubu is kind of they're a
Wow.
generation before the Pixies. They started in '75 in Cleveland. Do you know anything about this band?
No, no. I just saw some. It was some local bands, you know, that. But it's so. What kind of music they
So
play?
they're a very influential band. But if you look at their um, Wikipedia page or anytime anyone describes Para Ubu, they give them a lot of titles, right? Like art punk, post punk, proto
Oh,
punk, avant garde rock, art rock. So they kind of have, I think, kind of very experimental, um, intelligent, kind of highbrow music. But they were around. They've had a very long career, so they're still around. But the personnel of the band members change kind of often. But this guy, David Thomas, is the leader of the band, right?
I see.
Um,
Wow.
but even though they were older than the Pixies, right? Because at this time the Pixies were kind of becoming, right? They were starting to
Favorite.
become a big band. So in this case, Para Ubu was the opening band for the Pixies, right?
Oh,
But at this at this time, I didn't really know Para Ubu. I became a Para Ubu fan later. I saw them perform in Tokyo in '99.
Mm.
But anyways, at this time we were only really concerned with the Pixies, right? We wanted to go see the Pixies. We heard they were
Yeah.
playing at this university, so Oberlin College. It's kind of outside of Cleveland. It's a liberal arts college that's especially famous for music.
Wow.
Liz Fair went there, and Jason Molina, singer-songwriter.
Oh, I don't-
So it was kind of an unusual situation that this rather small university was the Pixies were going to play here, right?
yeah, yeah.
So we were very excited, right? And we were going to drive all the way up there to see the Pixies, and a lot of friends from my hometown were also coming to the show, and we thought it
Wow.
was going to be amazing. Okay. But we received very bad news right before the show. So it was at this time that it was decided that the Pixies were going to open for U2.
Oh my God.
So
That was
U2's
mhm. Why suddenly U2? U2 is in England, a band from England, right?
Ireland,
Liverpool,
Ireland.
Ireland. Ah, I see. Wow.
But it was kind of the
Mm.
usual path, right? Like, U2 were a major band at that time, and kind of the
Yeah.
Pixies were becoming more popular. So it was
Mm.
kind of a usual path that, right?
Yeah, it's Pixies should do the opening show for U2.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
Um,
No. Yeah. Selena. So how was that?
well, okay, so it's a long
Yeah.
story. Um, so what we heard, so we're very excited to go see the Pixies play this small show at a university with a cool
Mhm.
opening band and blah blah blah. And but then we heard this news that right, the Pixies have been recruited to open for U2 on their new tour, and the Pixies have canceled the concert, right?
Uh,
So we
that's-
heard that this show was canceled, right?
uh-huh.
So we didn't go, right? And for okay, well let me say something more about U2, because well, if you remember what happened to the Pixies put out these 4 albums, and kind of they were just starting to become very big. Everybody loved them. Everyone was very excited about the Pixies. They go on tour with U2, and
Mhm.
it didn't go well, right? Because I think like leading up to this tour, I think Black Francis and Kim Deal were already kind of fighting, right? So I think
I
Black
see.
Francis, he wanted to control everything. It seems. I don't know. I've heard that, but Kim
Mhm.
wanted more. Right? She wanted more artistic input in the band. Um, he was resistant to that, so it seemed they were starting to fight a lot. Right? So on tour with U2 in '92, so they opened for U2 from February 92 to April of '92, in kind of huge arena tours, right? So very big crowds, right? But
Mhm.
there was this article in Spin magazine, right? U2 on tour, the story they didn't want you to read. So
Uh,
in this story, and it was written by Jim Greer, who was Kim Deal's boyfriend at the time. But Jim Greer, he played bass in Guided by Voices for a short time, and he wrote a book about Guided by Voices, and he's a journalist and a writer. But at
mhm.
this time, he was dating Kim Deal. And so he wrote a big article in this kind of major magazine. The article featured the Pixies' criticisms of U2 for the supposed poor treatment of the Pixies. So according to Kim Deal, she was saying that the Pixies were being treated very badly by U2. And then I guess both groups disagreed. So both U2 and the other Pixies said, we don't know what she's talking about, right? And the other members of the Pixies were livid at Deal, right? So they're very angry at Kim Deal, especially Black Francis, right? So Black Francis was totally pissed off about this situation. And then Kim, right? And shortly after that, I guess, well, in 93, Francis announced the Pixies are finished, right?
Yeah.
So it seemed like
yeah, it's the fault of U2, I think.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Why can you explain what do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, if they didn't go on tour with U2, they, everything might not happen, and Pixies, well, continue longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can enjoy the show maybe.
Yeah.
Live.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So that's the fault of U2.
Yeah, I feel the same. I kind of blamed U2 for that situation. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like U2 anyway. So.
So, but of course, so we were super disappointed to hear that. The show is canceled because the Pixies have to start preparing for this big tour with U2, right? So we were very disappointed to hear that. But so we didn't go to the show, right? So we didn't drive up from Dayton. My friends from Cleveland didn't go to the show. It was our understanding that the show was canceled. Okay. But just this week, as I was researching for this episode, I learned that the show wasn't canceled. They actually had the show. So I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think what happened is this, right? This kind of small school. They didn't realize how popular the Pixies were, right? So kind of before this time, like college rock bands like REM or the Replacements, right? Kind of they could play at various universities and it was okay, right? Like they kind of their popularity, their popularity was like kind of chodoi for universities, right?
Yeah.
Perfect level for universities. But in the early 90s, I think that started to change, right? Like kind of some of the newer like popular indie bands or alternative bands were starting to become like too big, too fast, right?
Yeah.
So last weekend on this show, right, we talked about Primus when they played at a small club in Cleveland, and too many fans came, and the floor of the club started to collapse, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah, so there were too many people
Wow.
So that happened. Doesn't.
So how do you feel when you heard of the show actually didn't canceled?
Well, yeah, I would. No, and that's not even there. There's more to the story. So not only was it not canceled, but a very special guest came to the show. So, but I want to explain my theory why I think the show was canceled. Right. So there was the Primus show, right, a few months earlier. the floor almost caved in. And earlier in the spring, there was a Jane's Addiction show in Ohio where the kind of the audience did a lot of damage to the club. So maybe I don't know, maybe this university kind of heard that news and they started to realize how big the Pixies were getting. So they announced to the public that the show is canceled, right?
Oh, I
I
see.
that,
Yeah, that makes sense.
mm.
Yeah.
So I think they announced to the public the show was canceled, but then they did the concert for only students. I
Wow.
think like a secret concert, right?
Wow. That
And
is so.
so even if you look at this ticket, it says limit 2 tickets per OCID. So that would be Oberlin College ID. So
Oh,
Oberlin students only, right?
mm,
But yeah, for almost 30 years, I thought this concert was canceled. I thought it never happened.
wow. I envy the students of
Yeah.
that college, of that university. Wow.
Yeah, so they saw Para Ubu and the Pixies, but also a very special guest came to the show. I found this article, my encounter with David Bowie, right? So this guy, Joshua Rothkopf, he was an Oberlin student at that time, but now he's a film critic for, Time Out New York, Village Voice, Chicago Reader. So kind of a successful writer, right? But he is telling the story when he was a student at Oberlin, okay? It was difficult for them to get good bands to come, okay? But so it was a big deal when the Pixies were coming in December 91, right? So so when I read this, I'm very surprised because I thought that show was canceled, right? But no,
Yeah.
it continued in secret, right? And so David Bowie is a huge Pixies fan, right?
Yeah. If
Um,
I were you, I would be pissed off.
yeah. I am pissed off. I'm pissed off, but I also I don't know. I like finding new information, right? So it was to me it was kind of very interesting to that something that I had thought for 30 years has now totally changed, right? How I remember that night. Yeah, and I do feel like I was lied to or cheated,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So so David Bowie was in town because at that time he was in Tin Machine, his band in the late 80s, early 90s. He had a band called Tin Machine, and they were going to play the following night in Cleveland, right?
So wow.
So he was in town one day early and he went to the Pixies show, right? So this guy kind of tells his memory of that show when Bowie. So he said when the Pixies were playing and Bowie walked in, suddenly everybody was looking at David Bowie instead of looking at the band. But
yeah. Wow. Because I'm a big fan of David Bowie, so wow.
Of course, right?
I wish I were him. This John, his name was so so difficult to pronounce it.
Joshua Rothkopf. Yeah, it sounds like an amazing experience. If you look up this article, he talks about he talks about he went up and talked to David Bowie and Bowie was really cool to him. And so it sounds like, a really kind of intense experience for this guy. Right. And, I didn't know until today that so Tin Machine, when they would perform live, they would do a cover of Debaser.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
When
So
they did the live on Cleveland?
yeah. So yeah, I looked at this playlist. Yeah, and it said they played Debaser. Yeah.
Wow.
You can hear a version of Tin Machine doing Debaser on YouTube. I think live in San Francisco, just to get an idea. But it's yeah, it's pretty heavy.
Okay, I kind actually I don't know this band. I'm a fake fan, sorry. I
No,
don't know
that's-
this band of the David Bowie.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I think I'm gonna listen to this band
I
tonight.
think they only put out 2 albums, maybe 2 or 3. But the first one I especially love. I think it's just called Tin Machine. But
Team Machine.
yeah, very
Mm.
very cool. But yeah, I was so shocked to read this. So not only
Yeah, not only it wasn't canceled, but
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So yeah, not only did I miss the Pixies, I missed seeing David Bowie or meeting David Bowie.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And then I found like a
So what
couple
did
other.
you do at that night when you know
Oh,
when
instead
you
of
couldn't
going to
go
the
to
concert, yeah,
yeah instead of you're
probably
reading a yeah
probably nothing, right? It would just be a normal Thursday night.
yeah
Yeah.
wow.
So I definitely I feel cheated.
Yes. Yeah, when you're doing nothing, the Pixies and David Bowie was performance only 3 hours distance from you, so
Mhm.
driving distance from you. So that was yeah, but
Um,
anyway, it was interesting to, I mean, to retract the what happened at that time.
yeah, I was very surprised to learn this. Um, I don't think he performed with them that night. I mean, it doesn't say that.
Oh,
So maybe
wow.
it seemed like he was just there hanging out, but I don't know. Maybe we could find some more information in the future.
Mhm.
But it is true that he played Debaser
Oh, he played.
the
Okay.
next night. Yeah,
Yeah.
in a much bigger place. Yeah. The,
Mhm.
but I found like a couple other blogs of students from Oberlin who remember that night, right?
Wow.
I saw Bowie at a Pixies show in
Okay.
November. So that's a mistake. It should be December 91, right? Tin Machine was playing and right, suddenly David Bowie or Tin Machine was playing the next night. So Bowie was in town, so he showed up, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
this guy also gets the date wrong. So it's 91, not 93. But
93.
the
Mhm.
same story, David Bowie and Reeves Gabriel of Tin Machine show up. But so he even mentions that Bowie was wearing a fishbone
Baseball.
baseball hat. And he has a story about David Bowie signing his pack of cigarettes or a pack of cigarettes.
Wow.
Um, yeah.
Cool.
So here he says when Bowie walked in during the Pixies set and he demanded much more attention than the band. So kind of everybody stopped to look at David Bowie, right?
Yeah.
So pretty amazing. But then I found a picture of that night, right? So this is Bowie in the fishbone cap, the guy mentioned, with the Pixies, right?
Wow.
And these guys are members of Para Ubu, right?
Ah, yeah, Peru. Yeah.
So this guy, wait, this guy is Eric Drew Feldman. He would later play in Frank Black's band. right? Or actually, he played keyboards on Le Trump Le Monde. So he kind of became, he worked with the Pixies, and later he worked with Frank Black.
Yeah,
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 but
I
yeah,
got it.
but pretty amazing, huh? This is the show I missed.
Yeah, yeah, you. That's a lot.
Mm, mm.
That's too much. Oh, yeah. What you were missing was too much.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
but I did finally. So I missed this show, or it was canceled, right? Canceled
Can't go.
to the public. But I did finally see the Pixies in 2005.
Wow.
But I think this is an interesting coincidence, though. So this was December 5th of 91. And when I saw the Pixies, it was December 5th, 2005. So exactly 14
Wow.
years later.
Wow, I love coincidence.
Yeah.
Oh,
um,
okay. So when the 2005 they it's the original Pixies,
yes.
the
Yes.
band members.
Hmm.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. Because, at some point after this, Kim left the band, right? But at this time, Kim was there. So it was the original Pixies.
Yeah, that's cool.
But if you look at their set list from that night, you'll notice that most of the songs are off Doolittle.
Wow, that's cool.
So I was kind of surprised to see this. I thought they would have tried to play a balance from like their 4 classic albums, right? But actually, no. Almost half the show was Doolittle. So
Mm,
I guess that shows that Doolittle really is their most important album, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, even the band
Maybe-
agrees.
Yeah, yeah. I was just saying, maybe the band they love the Doolittle themselves, you know. Yeah, it's their favorite album, maybe for the band.
Mm. Or maybe they change up this set list at different times. I don't know, but yeah,
Yeah,
that
but
night
happened to
they
be-
played a lot of Doolittle.
Yeah, cool. I
Hmm.
wish I could see their lives in the future.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I think they'll be back soon. They kind of,
yeah, yeah.
they often come to Japan.
I hope I can see that. Yeah, they're actually they were intended to come to China last year or last 2 years. I didn't remember, but yeah, they were planned to play, to do a performance, to do a live in China, but because of the COVID-19, it was canceled. So all my friends were also pissed off because it's like the life chance to see the
Mm.
performance of Pixies, and the COVID-19 destroyed it. So
Mhm.
yeah, but I hope we can have the chance
Mm.
to see.
That's the worst feeling, huh? When a show is canceled.
Yeah, that's the worst feeling.
Hmm.
But I didn't get a ticket actually, so I'm okay. Because when they try, their performance in China, the ticket was really hard to buy because there are too many people. They only sold 1,000 ticket. I think it's a small live house, so so I didn't get the ticket at that time. So I'm not sad.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, so you might have a better chance to see them in Japan then.
Yeah.
But I think they still usually sell out here, like even without Kim Deal, right? So if they come back next year, you should try to buy a ticket as soon as possible. I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I need to look. Yeah.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us tonight. And Kay, thank you for joining
Thank
again.
you.
Mm,
Yeah.
was a lot of fun. Um, and yeah, it was a great opportunity to talk about a great album. And I think we're going to go out with the song "Hey." So, Kay,
Yeah.
why do you like the song "Hey"?
Um, I don't know. I just when the first time I listened to Hey, I was actually, surprised because, the first voices came from it's just Hey. It's just exactly same as the title. And then the bass sound from Kim Deal, and I the way they put this song, they organized this song was just so amazing. So so talented, I think.
Mhm.
And weird, and I have a feeling of this song was really weird but cute. So
Mm,
yeah, that's the reason why I love it and why I chose it.
mm.
Yeah.
And so just so unique, right? Like
So
just
unique, and a sense of cute, and I don't know, yeah, cute, weird, and humor, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And well, I think what you said before, like each time you listen to the album, you notice different things, right? It conveys so many different emotions, right? So
Yeah.
if this song is kind of cute, and then you compare it to like Debaser or Tame, which just sounds so abrasive, right? So it's
Yeah, Tame is kind of aggressive. Yeah.
so just the diversity on the album is so fascinating, right? I
Yeah,
think.
for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go out with Hey. All right. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, Kay.
Thank you.
Let's do it.
Hey! Been trying